Thanks for stopping by the Minnesota Black Robe Regiment channel. Today I am very glad to have Redbeard with me. For those of you who don't know, Redbeard is hard to miss figure at most of the rallies here in Minnesota that strangely enough tend to happen mostly on the weekends because, well, patriots and constitutionalists have jobs. So I'm going to leave that alone. Chad lives in Blooming Prairie, which is southwest of the Rochester area, a little bit. He's an interesting figure. We met almost immediately upon my first attendance at a rally, and he's, like I said, he's hard to miss. But he's interesting because he's vocal and he's serious about what he believes in, and he's not afraid to take a stand. And so while he's not a restaurant owner and he's not in a sense of some of the people that I've interviewed lately, not been affected as much by having to risk losing a business, he's taken some other risks, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So Chad, thanks for doing this. Thanks for your, should we say, powerful presence at the rallies and on social media and in the world. How and what got you started on this track? Have you always been strongly constitutional, strongly patriotic, or has this been relatively recent with your eyes being open to things that are happening here? And then tell me about your flags.
Well, okay. I actually, I've always loved this country, but I haven't been as involved in what's going on, or I haven't had the interest into what's going on until recently, until I started to become aware of what was happening. I was, like most Americans, just complacent and confident that our government was doing the right thing for us. And it took me a little bit to become aware and accept that they are not. We are really having our freedom stolen from us on a daily basis, and I was unaware of it. So about in June, my wife became really into this stuff and started talking to me, and then my neighbor as well. We were talking, and I just became more and more aware of how awful things were. So in June, I went to my first rally up at the Capitol. It was the mask mandate rally, and that was my first one, and it got pretty heated, and I was right in the face of Antifa, BLM, and New Black Panthers, all those other groups that are up there. And I was immediately, I was, like you said, I'm easy to pick out. I'm 6'7", 290 pounds, got this awesome red beard, and I'm vocal. I'm not afraid to talk to these people. So I was picked out. It took them months to dox me. Actually, the rally that we were talking about up at the governor's mansion where we first met is actually where they first doxed me and got my pictures and took some pictures and started to group me with these other groups that were up there. The Proud Boys, the Boogaloo Boys. I'm not sure who the Boogaloo Boys are, but the Proud Boys, I know what they stand for, and they're good people. I couldn't tell you any names of who they are, but they seem to be good people. But
you mean they're not terrible, horrible, evil white supremacists who want to, but they must be lying to us then, because everybody else seems to, I'm sorry.
No, and they are lying to you, because Antifa is like a bully. They like to pick on people who don't pick back or don't stand up for themselves. And that's why they're so afraid of the Proud Boys, because the Proud Boys stand up to them and protect the people that can't protect themselves or are afraid to protect themselves. So Antifa will run around and say they're white supremacists and they hate women and this and that. It's just all a bunch of lies. So they have Antifa associates me with the Proud Boys. They associate me with running some groups that I don't run. I'm just a proud patriot that won't back down. They've called my work hundreds of times. They've called my wife's work hundreds of times, calling us white supremacists, and we randomly attack people and blah, blah, blah. Just a bunch of.
And if you don't want to say, that's fine, but it seems like people know. So what do you do? Do you work in Blooming Prairie? Do you?
No, I work in Dodge Center at a truck manufacturing plant. I'm a programmer. I've
Okay.
been there for 6 years, just over 6 years. And the thing is these kids, because that's what they are. They're really a bunch of kids, the ones that are calling and doing all this stuff. They don't understand that I've worked with these people and these people know me. So some random calls, especially hundreds of random calls, freaking out, saying all this stuff. These people know who I am. So
we're talking hundreds of calls.
Hundreds. Yes, I mean enough that the vice president of the company came and talked to me about it. I feel for the company having to put up with that stuff, but it's not going to make me stop standing up.
And the company hasn't put pressure on you.
No, not at all. My immediate boss is an amazing man. Before they started calling, we had seen what they were planning on Twitter. So I approached my immediate boss and I said, look, this is what's going to happen. And he thought, it's not going to happen. I said, this isn't a joke. It's really going to happen. And within days it did. And it still continues to this day, but I'm a hard worker. I'm a good worker. I'm a good man. I'm not ashamed of anything I should or anything I'm doing. And I won't allow anybody to shame me for anything I'm doing. I'm not going to defend myself as not being a white supremacist. I've never had to, I never will, so it's ridiculous the attacks that are taking place simply because I was up at the mansion that day I have a 20-year-old son that I wanted to see. I wanted to, not have to worry, not as that though I'm worried of being arrested, but I just thought it was ridiculous that he wasn't allowed at my house to see his brothers and sisters and his mom and his stepdad. And that's why I was up there. And then Antifa has turned this into an all-out attack on me because I'm a patriot and I won't stand down. And things got heated again today over Twitter, and I'm banned on Facebook again.
Oh, you got blocked on Facebook again?
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen. I make these little memes and put some pictures of the Antifa guys out there, and I put one out today
of Mercado. I suppose that was
that got me banned within 20 minutes. But then I was back on for like a half hour, and now I'm banned again. So. Just crazy because in my opinion Mercado is fake media. He's an Antifa scout. He's there to help cause harm to patriots. And if you're there for media, you're there to tell the story, you're more than welcome. But when you're using your videos and your pictures and hiding what they're doing to our vehicles, and he actually admits on his December 5th live, that was the day that they come with all the shields and damage the vehicles. He got caught on our side of the police line and was panicking. At a minute 26, he goes, he says, I'm with the other side. I can't get over there. So he's admitting that he's with the other side. He's not media. That's when I lost any, I stopped trying to defend him.
The 2 weeks before that rally, I had approached him and said, hey, look, so far everything I've seen from you, I mean, we all have an agenda. We do. Everybody, there's nobody that shows up at those things that doesn't have an agenda. That doesn't have even the straight media, mainstream, every one of them comes with some sort of leaning. It's just impossible. There's no way they don't. But the couple of videos that I'd seen from him in the past had at least had the semblance of not painting one side or the other as the heroes, and that day he switched. And I approached him that day and said, hey man, I appreciate that even though I know you have an agenda, you're not out here name calling. And by the end of that day, when I approached him, he had started to take sides, and very clearly. And then that 2 weeks later, then, which was the only, there again, I work every other weekend, so I can't be at all the rallies. That's when it was very clear that he had an agenda, and it's disgusting because he is providing them. He's providing them identities. He's providing them cover. He's helping people be exposed, and that's what your story and Allie's story really. I was very upset when they went after Becky. I was very upset when they went after Teresa, because they're posting flyers in an urban area in a 3-block radius around both of those ladies' homes, calling for direct action on them. Mm-hmm. And if you know the lingo of the left, direct action means violence.
Yep.
That's what they mean. They mean violence. They're calling for violence.
Yeah.
See, if you see this person, directly confront them. That's going to cause harm.
Yep.
And we've seen it over and over again. What's intrigued me about your story and Allie's story is how far out of the Twin Cities you guys are. I mean, you're about the same distance I am, maybe a little closer. But you're a long ways away. And your story exposes that Antifa, Black Bloc, Black Lives Matter, the new Black Panthers, the new Black Liberation Army, the Black Liberation Front, all of them are very much in this to win. They're in it to win, and they're not just going to stay in the metro areas now. They're going to start going out further and further and further. And we saw that a little bit with John Thompson and his horrible, vulgar tirade against a peaceful community in Hugo, for the crime of allowing someone to live there.
Mm-hmm.
And and I mean, and Hugo's not nearly as far away as Blooming Prairie is from the cities. And here you are. I mean, what's your drive time?
About an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Up to the cities, yeah.
So you're an hour and a half away, and they're actively threatening you guys, correct?
Oh, very much so. Very much so. They come at us regularly. They're pretty good about like sending a direct message, like on Twitter, and then as soon as I see it, if I don't screenshot it right away, it's gone. They'll delete that account. But they threaten to burn my house down. Chaz Neal has told me if I'm not careful, I'm going to catch a bullet. He actually did a live stream this morning that he said that he hasn't been active with his whatever page it is because he's been out in Whiteville, he calls it, and specifically said Blooming Prairie. What are you doing here, Chaz? And we have enough people in the neighborhood looking out. We've got some cars identified, and we're taking all the right precautions, excuse me. But
percussion might be the right thing to.
Yeah, maybe. Allie and I, when this first happened, we started getting messages like, "Hey, man, you've been doxxed," and neither one of us knew what the word even meant at the time. We didn't know what doxing was, and then we seen that they were attacking us on Twitter and saying this and that, and me and my wife sat down and had a conversation, and I was a little weary. I didn't want to bring any unwanted chaos our way. But my wife said to me, she said, "Chad, if we don't stand up, who is, man?" I was like, you're right. So we decided not to hide. We decided not to delete our Twitter or delete our Facebook.
You don't need to delete it. They like to ban you.
They like to get it blocked. They like to push and push and push, but their little feelers get hurt when you push back. So, we let them know, like, yeah, this is me. And I'm not ashamed of anything I'm doing. And we go back and forth with them. And a lot of times it's for amusement sometimes for me, but it is getting to be a little more serious, but we in no way feel we are not scared in any way. We are patriots and patriots will protect patriots. And honestly, They like to just talk at this point.
Let me ask this: who is this Chaz Neal?
He's over in Red Wing. He's a despicable human being. He's a sex offender. Oh shoot, I lost you for a second. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. You must have had a call coming in.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
So he's over in Red Wing. He likes to, I can't remember the name of his page, Chaz Neal something. It's a regular public page you can go on. You can see all the stuff he says about me and the memes he's put out about me. And, you know, his live this morning is where he was talking about being in Blooming Prairie in a maroon pickup. I'm sure that was him that was driving by and stopping and taking pictures of my house and such. But yeah, he's not a very good dude. He likes to attack patriots for no reason. Hates cops.
Wait, so is he a white guy?
No, he's a black guy.
He's a black guy living in Red Wing, calls Blooming Prairie Whiteville.
Yep.
All the irony.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
So you're relatively certain that he was casing your location?
I'm positive of it. I thought it was him, and then when I seen, you know, somebody pointed out his live this morning, because I don't waste my time watching that, but a lot of people send that stuff to me, and they said, "Hey man, he's been in Blooming," and you know, well, we got, you know, we are well protected. You know, they can't get close to my house. If they do, we're gonna see them. You know, so and I'm public about that. I'm very out in the open that, you know, and they're still trying to get near my house, and it's you know, we've got license plates. We you know, we're doing everything the right way, keeping records, and you know, I'm not trying to provoke them in any way. But
you aren't going to make a video like mine from a couple of weeks ago where I said, "Come for me."
Yeah, well, I do that quite frequently. I do, you know, send tweets and stuff like that.
I thought that was a little jab at me for saying, "Come for me."
Oh no, not at all. I mean, I'm on my videos. I you know, I'm not trying to be aggressive with them, but I will definitely defend myself. You know what I mean?
Well, like, the thing with bullies is you have to stand up to them.
Yep. The best way to stop a bully is to pop them in the mouth.
You know, and whether at times that might be literal, and other times it's mostly figurative. And that's the thing with Antifa and Black Lives Matter. They don't know how to respond when you don't capitulate in fear.
Yeah.
It literally pisses them off and scares them. It scares them. And quite frankly, it's really kind of the entire modus operandi of the left, in that they don't know they're Marxist. They really don't even know they're on the left, a lot of these people, but they are. They're and it's the direct result of how they've been indoctrinated through the system.
Yeah.
But if you look at, so I did a video it's like a couple weeks ago now, about Larvita, after I interviewed her. Great where woman. Just bold. And I called out the governor for being a racist.
Yeah. And actually, at the Capitol you did that. That was a day I couldn't be there, but I was watching you live.
And I did it then too, yeah. Right. But in the actual YouTube video, I went off on him and Ellison. It's racist. And I defended Larvita the same way on the wall for Haven's Garden. And I'll tell you what, every single person that's come on and attacked her for being open, that's been white, or anybody that for that matter, I have very explicitly called them out and said, why are you attacking this minority, single mother who is a minority who owns a business? Are you not exercising systematic racism and white privilege? And without fail, their first response is no, but when you push them on it, they delete their comment.
Yep.
They'll delete their review because they don't have an answer. Every single one of them. And the only thing about Antifa and Black Lives Matter is they show up at places and they're loud and they're pushy and they like to label people things. And when you don't defend yourself and instead make them prove the accusation, they fail. They fail. Yeah. Because they and that's why they're coming after you. They're coming after you not because you are what they say you are, but because now their only response, the only response left to them, brother, is physical violence. That's all that's left.
Well, I mean, today, you know, some of the memes I put out, I started getting messages like, "How dare you do this and put out personal information?" And
are
what
you
kind of
kidding me?
Yeah, no, it was insane. I couldn't believe it that they were coming in. What kind of person are you? You're the terrorist. You're going after innocent people. And I was like, look, man, I'm putting out cute little memes with these terrorist pictures in. I'm not putting out where they work. I'm not putting out home addresses. I'm not putting out what they drive. I'm not encouraging people to harm them in any way. I'm just putting out who they are and what they stand for. They're ashamed of what they stand for. So that's why they're getting so upset. You know, and that's the difference between me and them. All my information is public. You know who I am. I'm not ashamed, but you will not, you know, you will not talk to me or approach me as a real person. You're some fake handle on Twitter or Facebook because you're too afraid to let people know who you are and what you stand for. They are everything they're trying to portray us. It's perfect out of the Rules for Radicals book, man. That's
I've never talked about that
ever. It's their perfect handbook. They're and it's so frustrating because you know, I've listened to the book on Audible a couple times now, and every time I'm just like, man, this is exactly what we're going through right now. You know, it's just, you know, cause chaos and confusion and disrupt, and they have no agenda. Like when they're counter protest, their only agenda is to attack. You know, they don't care what we're there for. You know, they're just there to harm and hurt people.
Well, and even their chants are propaganda.
Yeah.
You know, the one that where they surrounded us, you know, when they got us trapped in, they're marching down the street chanting "Kill the Klan."
Yeah.
Like what could you possibly? How else could you possibly interpret what they're saying other than they were there to hurt people?
Yeah. No.
If a group of patriots went marching down the street chanting "Kill Antifa," they'd be arrested
immediately. We went to
for terroristic threats.
Yeah, walking down the streets with shields and weapons and chanting "kill, kill, kill." You know, we couldn't get away with that.
No, and we wouldn't do that.
No,
but
smart.
But yet there they are, and the thing, you know, and that's kind of what you're doing is my theory or my practice is turn their own book against them. Mm-hmm. Their favorite rule from Rules for Radicals is make your enemy follow their own rules. Well, guess what? I'm going to make you follow your own rules. Oh, you're going to call me a racist? You're a racist.
They made a mistake coming after us, thinking that we would shy down and be ashamed of anything. That's totally not us. You know, we were quite clear right away. We are not ashamed, and we will stand up to these guys. And you know, when all them cars got damaged, they put stickers on my car. All the cars around me got damaged, but you know, a fellow patriot that's there all the time, Robert, you know, he was like, they don't know what to do with you, Chad. You're punching or you're stepping back at them, you know, and that kind of made me feel good. Like, you know, good. They at least recognize me enough. They know my vehicle, but they won't touch it because I'm pushing back. I mean, I feel bad for all the other patriots, but I was a little bit fed my ego, I guess, a little bit, you know, like these guys know who I am and don't want to mess with me.
Well, I think that what you're experiencing is the natural response of a genuinely patriotic person, in that you know, the old saying from World War II, you know you're over the target when you're taking flak.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that phrase, why that matters. And the reason, you know, I talk about context a lot, you know, depending on almost any topic I'm talking about, I always talk about context. And we have so many phrases that we use, and that one is one that I think we really need to use more, but people need to understand the context of that. Like, you have in World War II, you have these flying fortresses, the B-2 or the B-52 bombers flying over targets in Germany and other places in Europe. And they're flying at a level where they're in harm's way from anti-aircraft guns. And we're not talking missiles like people think today that can go way up. They're low enough for ground-based artillery and machine guns to be throwing shrapnel at them, basically. And when they would get near their target, they'd start taking flak from the anti-aircraft batteries. And that was what the commanders would tell them. You know you're out over your target when you're taking flak. And that's where you and Becky and Teresa and others now in the Minnesota Patriot movement, and no, it's not a right-wing militia, but I don't know what else to call it. So, it's a burgeoning movement, and there are certain people within the movement who are taking flak because they're over the target. And you look, I've had interactions, and I've talked about a little bit with Kim Norton, the mayor of Rochester. She's basically ordered me to not comment on her mayoral office posts. Don't comment here. Take it to your own. Well, why is that? She doesn't want to do it. She doesn't want me doing it because she can't respond.
Right.
She won't accept my open debate challenge. She won't accept it. She ignores it every time. And that's a form of taking flak. And not in the same way that you're taking it. Obviously, people like Mayor Norton and Governor Walz aren't going to resort to those tactics, but their people will.
Yes.
And I'm getting some of that now. And I had somebody tell me, people like you need to be held accountable when this is all over with. I'm like, I said, clarify. Oh, you know what I mean. Well, yeah, I do. But other people are going to read that and go, oh, well, she just wants to make sure that, you're doing the right thing. No, it's an enemies list building. And that's where you and Allie have found yourself. You're on the enemies list. You're taking
for sure. If you're not having, I guess for us, our belief is if we're not seeing that our poking and prodding at them isn't affecting them, then we're not doing it right. If we are getting the attention of all of them and they're putting it out there to everybody, but on the other hand, we don't get just negative stuff. We've had many patriots who are afraid to stand up or don't want to risk their job that have come to us and said, thank you. I wish I could do this, but I can't. Thank you for doing it. That keeps us going even more so than, today, Natalie Slaughter, I got under her skin, and that. So getting somebody from the community that just gives us a card that says thank you for what you're doing. Don't think we don't support you because we're not vocal, because we are. That means a lot more to me than Natalie Slaughter and Toussaint Morrison and all them morons spreading propaganda and bull crap about me. That's, we get it from both sides, but the positive reinforcement is what keeps us going. And sometimes the negative stuff is amusing.
And that's, it's funny that you say that, because that's been one of my experiences. When I launched this channel back in April, the morning of my very first rally, I started this up, and I think I left that rally that day, and like I had one video up, which was just my intro video, like why I'm doing this and where I'm going today. And I think by the time I got home from that rally, I had like 3 subscribers, you know, and like what, there was no content, so what were you subscribing to? But here I sit, December, what is it, 29th. So we're, you know, it's just April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. You know, we're 9 months into my channel, about 10 months into all of this garbage. But we're about 9 months into my channel, and for me, I have 320 subscribers. That's huge for me. And every single one of those, and some of them, you know, are not subscribed for any other reason than to watch and look and see what I'm saying. And I know for a fact that some of what I'm saying is being monitored by my employer. And but the vast majority of that 320 are subscribing because something's ringing a bell. They're relating to something. And that's why you get that. You know, I got a message the other day on Facebook from somebody I had no connection to, who saw something with my interaction from the interchange there in Albert Lee. And she, you know, and she's like, just want you to know I'm a business owner and I'm a patriot, and I'm not going to harass you. I just wanted to, you know, that kind of stuff. It makes you feel good, not in a prideful, oh, well, I've got a bunch of support. It makes you feel good because of like what you said, Chad, is you're a voice for somebody else. And I'm getting emotional thinking about it, because that's what this is about. You know, you're a voice. And I'm talking more, you're supposed to be doing most of it, but
we're on the same page, brother.
But you look at Nazi Germany as the Reich was taking over, and there was a German Christian, I believe it was, a German Christian, and I'm gonna mess up the quote, I don't have it right in front of me, but they asked him afterwards, I think he ended up in a camp too, and he was rescued, and he said, well, you know, when they came for the gays, I didn't say anything, and when they came for the gypsies, I didn't say anything. When they came for the Jews, I didn't say anything, and when they came for, you know, the so-and-sos, I didn't say anything. He said, but when they came for me, there was no one left to speak up. And that's what, you know, what makes me proud to know you in this movement is you're willing to speak up. You're willing to put yourself out there, not because you know, I at 6'7", I doubt you've ever been worried about conflict with anybody, but so you're used to being a target, but I tell people all the time, I hate confrontation. I hate it. I despise it. But there are people out there who need people like you, who need people like, you know, Larvita and Lisa from the interchange, and Lisa from the Alibi, and all these other people. They need people like you to be out there, magnets for the garbage and for the attacks and the voice, because every single one of you who do this are encouraging somebody who will finally get to that point to say, I'm going to speak out. I'm not going to do this anymore. And that's what the three, everybody gets, so you mentioned the 3%, and boy, it's that's a radical militia. Literally, it's not. It's literally a historical group. You know, right. And that's what the 3% during the revolution, you know, prior to the Revolutionary War were. They were that vocal minority who weren't afraid to speak out. that eventually swayed an entire continent to fight a war.
Only took 3%, man.
Right. So if I understand correctly, what you and Allie had been saying last week is that there might be some family member that is maybe contributing to your doxing.
Yeah, and I'll never be able to prove it because Antifa's not going to give me the information. But we don't just throw out accusations. There's things that tie to this, and my wife's kind of not asked me not to touch on this too much because he is family, and we do still love him. We don't like what he's doing, and we think what happened is he didn't realize the severity of the actions, just ignorant to what is going on because it's still a game to him. So I gave him my number. He reached out. We were supposed to talk on Saturday after the initial text we got from him. He never got back to us, and it's not worth our energy. But he literally said he saw an opportunity to take a jab at me, knowing that and seeing everything that they're doing to him. I just don't understand how that is an opportunity to take a jab at a family member over politics. Now, me and this dude were good buddies. I had a lot of respect for him until all this. Now I don't know the guy, but it is what it is. They've got my information, and it's just it is a sad situation. It hurts terribly, but it is what it is. Really, you got to roll with the punches. We knew, we knew family members don't like what we're doing, but there's no reason to hate. You should be so filled with hate over differing political views. He thinks I'm distorted. I know he's distorted, and we just have chosen not to fuel the fire or get involved in his hate spewing. God bless you, dude. I pray for you every day, and hopefully things will be different. But we are at a point where the enemy is very clear to me. The enemy is very clear, and it's a time for good men to make very tough decisions. I feel like we're a little behind the ball as patriots. You've seen how well Antifa in the left, how they organize and they're they all take orders real well. It's I think we need to organize and get better security at our rallies, and it's probably beyond the point of rallies and protests at this point. I feel like it's a scary time coming up, and I feel like I'm ready, and I hope I've empowered some people to maybe step up and understand what's going on. And that's why me and my wife, this is why we do this, is because we had people tell us that they didn't feel like they had a voice. And man, as long as we're around people like me and you are around, that's never true, man. What you and Allie are going through and what you're doing is having far more impact. What Becky and Lisa and Marvita and Lisa and Jane and Teresa. Teresa's out in the thick of it, and literally getting assaulted and not just verbally, and having equipment stolen from her, and being harassed at her job as well. And what you guys do is far more important. Your voice is far more important. I just sit here and rant in most of my videos. Yeah, but this, putting this stuff out, helping us get our story out, that is definitely frontline movement, buddy. That is, we rep red, white, and blue. So we empower people's voices that think they don't have a voice. We give them that voice. And the people that inspire me are people like Teresa and Becky and Lisa and Larvita. These women have inspired me so much to stand up against these bullies. I mean, they're standing up to the biggest bully in our area right now. That's amazing. You know, Larvita and Lisa and then the interchange, Lisa at the interchange. That's our movement, our patriot movement of standing up is being spearheaded by these amazing women. And I am so proud to be able to stand alongside of them. And ladies, thank you so much for giving me the guts to stand up to Antifa.
I'm going to get myself in trouble here, and I'm going to use our conversation to do that. So, I don't know how familiar you are with biblical history, but there are in the Old Testament, and the judges in the Old Testament, there were a couple of times in particular where God lifted up a female judge over Israel to shame them. And I think that the patriot movement, especially here in Minnesota right now, God, and for my strongly Christian friends who share my theology and philosophical perspective, I don't need a critique of this, okay? I'm not God is not necessarily more interested in the patriot movement in Minnesota than anywhere else, but there's something for us to be aware of here, and this is not a slight towards women, it's a jab at the men. There are very, very few bold men in the patriot movement in Minnesota. There are a lot of vocal guys online. There are a lot of guys who say, oh, I'm sick of this too. But when you leave the store or house to go to the store, you put your mask on while you're riding in your car.
Yeah.
And then you tell me, yeah, I hate this mask mandate. And then you don't show up at a rally. You won't speak out. You won't challenge your local authorities. You won't talk to your mayors, and you don't say anything to the governor, and you all about protecting your job and making sure that nobody knows what you think so that you can live in comfort. And we got women who are looking at going to prison for having the audacity to defy the governor and work. That's a judgment on the men in Minnesota.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of guys like Chad out there. There aren't a lot of guys like Josh Sweetland out there.
Yes. Duran Slater.
Or Duran. There aren't enough of them.
No.
There needs to be a lot more. And when you look around in the backbone of this patriot movement, out front and leading the way are petite, tiny, little women who are shaking their fist at Antifa and shaking their fist at the biggest Marxist in our state right now, our governor and mayors like Kim Norton. Those are the people who are leading the way. And we got men go, oh yeah, I support them. Yeah. Get off your asses.
Get off Facebook. Get off Facebook. Quit putting out them memes. Start emailing your legislators. Start calling your legislators. Come out, support us at the Capitol. Step up and support these women that are giving a big FU to Waltz and staying open and supporting their family. It's one thing to just, we just can't have you complacent with just memes and stuff. We need people to stand up and take action, and when I got heavily involved in this, we started the Minnesotans for Freedom in August, and that was a call for unity, and we still believe we still want unity, not the kind of unity the Democrats are calling for right now, because that's submission. It's not unity, that's submission. So we understand that the unity with the left right now is kind of off to the side, and now it's just a matter of bringing this country together. But the social media has ruined the patriot, the fighter, because they think that putting a meme out that says, Joe Biden's crazy is good enough. It's not. We need to stand up. We need to unite and show the world, show this, show everybody that we won't stand for this anymore. We've taken it too long. So it really is a call for action. And these women, my wife is an amazing patriot. You don't see her on. Oh no.
No, you're good. You're
Okay. So I guess my battery's going a little dead. I'm sorry about that.
no. You finish your thought.
My wife is my biggest motivator because she doesn't like coming on camera, but I mean, a lot of the knowledge I get is from her. She is right up there with Lisa and Larvita and little Teresa. Man, that woman, I'm really inspired by her. And Becky had, look at what she's going through. They're really going at her. And thank you to them women and men of Minnesota, of the United States. We need to step up. We need to step up and show the Walt that it's not just women. The men are ready to fight as well. But it's pretty awesome to be led by these amazing women.
Yeah, and I don't want anybody to misunderstand and say that in this circumstance, like somehow it's wrong. It's just what's wrong is not that the women are motivated. What's wrong is that we seem to not have any. We don't have enough men who are taking vocal positions. Mm-hmm. We just don't.
The time for showing your support online and stuff. I mean, that's awesome, but step up, come to these rallies and hear people like you talk and Larvita talk and Allie Waterbury and Jonathan Land. Those guys are awesome, and you get such good information and just the camaraderie, the patriotism, and then the networking. We're gonna have to know who we can trust in these coming weeks, coming months.
I would have never met you.
Right.
And now when I see you at a rally, it's like, hey man,
yeah, you're right. Still handshake and hug. That's yeah. I tell you this. I would never have met any of the people that I stand side by side with in this fight on the front lines had I not gotten the guts. I mean, honestly, my first rally, I sat here all morning like, oh, do I really want to do this? And something said, you got to, man. This isn't what I want to do. I don't want to be fighting with Antifa on Twitter. I don't want to, Facebook. I don't want to be getting banned for telling the truth about Antifa. But God called on me, man. I truly believe that God called on me to say and said, Chad, somebody's got to do it. I'm a recovering meth addict. I've been sober for almost 17 years. I've been to prison. I've been to the depths of hell. I've lost everything. And I crawled out of that chaos to have a beautiful wife, a beautiful family, a beautiful house, I have a beautiful life, and I'll be damned if I'm going to let Waltz or Ellison or Biden or Antifa or anybody take that from me. There's just no way. So God called on the right guy.
For all 10 of you who are watching this, not live, for all 10 of you, as I always say in every one of my conversations, for my tens and tens of viewers, I want you to hear this. I guarantee you that 17 years ago, Chad Raffel would have been defying authority in a far different way.
Absolutely.
If you look behind him, there you can't see all of it, but there's a flag that's black and white. Oh, and look, it's got a thin blue line on it. This man's a convict. I didn't tell you that. He told you that. He doesn't wear it as a badge of honor, but he doesn't shy away from it. And he's out here flying a flag. And not just the American flag, but a thin blue line flag saying, we need to take our country back. 17 years ago, he'd have been saying something different.
Darn right. I may have been on the other side.
We would have been in a lot more trouble if he was on.
But I truly understand what it's like to have my freedoms taken away, to be told when you can shower, when and what you can eat, when and who you can talk to, when I can go to church, when I can go buy something. I know what that's like. And honestly, man, I think it was preparing me for what we're going through right now. I couldn't deal with these low life scum if I had never dealt with them before. I understand where these indoctrinated kids are coming from. You know, they're confused and filled with hate and just blind and following whoever's probably paying them. That's one thing I like to ask them all the time, if George Soros 1099s them, because they say these are whose streets, our streets, and well, I pay taxes, you pay taxes. So I always ask them if Soros is paying them or 1099ing them, since they say it's their streets.
Yeah, and they don't like it when you flip their chant on them and you stand in front of the mansion that we provide for the governor, and you get the crowd to chant whose house? Our house. They don't like. Yep. They hate that. Man, did I catch flack for that?
I tell you, one of the greatest moments was that first weekend they really approached us, and there was no cops. I'm not sure if you were up there that weekend, but we were kind of face to face with them.
Yeah, that was the weekend after that. Where there was a small crowd of them that showed up. It was the next week that you guys were there, and the big group
bigger, and we held the line there. But they started saying something about down with white supremacists or something like that, and we started chanting with them because none of us want white supremacy. We're not for any racial supremacy. But the looks on their faces when they were chanting and then heard us chanting with them, they were looking at us like, "What the heck?" Yeah, you're right, man. Down with white supremacy, down with black supremacy, down with any racial supremacy. You know, I've never judged a man by the God or the pigment God gave him, because it's such a waste of energy. And that's why most of them kids are so exhausted, because they are so filled with hate on white guys for some reason.
They're either hating themselves for what they look like, or they're hating you for what you look like. That's all it's hate. And that's what I've told so many of them when I get a chance to talk to them one-on-one. I'm like, we're not out here just for our liberty. We're out here so that you can go and protest.
Yeah.
Because when it comes down to it, and this is the thing that people have been really upset with me about for the last couple of weeks. I don't care who institutes martial law. I don't care if it's my guy or your guy. When they institute martial law, we're all going to suffer.
Yes.
They're not going to go, "Oh, President Trump's instituting martial law. Did you vote for him? Because if you did, you can go drive to work now." It'll be, "I need your papers."
Yeah.
It's not going to be, as long as you voted the right way, then you can leave. It's going to be, everybody's going to be shut down. And so if they could do it to us through a public health emergency, they can use any excuse. And sooner or later, they're going to run out of patriots to shut down. And then they're going to go shut down the actual miscreants and the rabble-rousers and the ones that are actually causing trouble. And so when we take a stand, we're not just standing for white folk. We're not just standing for black conservatives. We're standing for oppressed minorities and oppressed people all over the state, all the time. That's what we're standing for. Because that Constitution is for all of us. It's not just for a particular segment of people. And they don't understand that. And they hate the fact that we believe in liberty, because all they want is authoritarianism.
Yeah. Yeah, it frustrates them so much that none of us, nobody that they're pointing out are the people that they want us to be so bad. They want so bad for us to be white supremacist and hate anybody who is a Democrat, or it's just not in us. We're frustrated, but we don't hate over something like that. We stand for all Americans. Right. Anybody who wants to be an American legally, anybody, doesn't matter what color you are, doesn't matter where you work, doesn't matter how much money you are, every single American is who we are fighting for. And they cannot stand that we won't say, "Nope, it's just us." We're fighting for us. We're fighting for you too, for you to have the right to counter protest. I do think they're getting away with a lot with,
Gee, Chad, why would you think that? Hey,
not sure, man. I may have seen a few things.
Look, I know this is your week off, and I know you got a family to attend to, and I am glad that we met.
Me too. Me too, man. I really, it means a lot to have the respect of somebody that's got the knowledge that you do, and the patriotism that you do, man. And it's such a blessing to just be able to talk to you and listen to you speak. Thank you, and thank you for doing this, man. This means a lot.
I tell every person that I talk to, you are far more of an inspiration. The reason I'm doing this isn't because of me. It's because you're the inspiration. I'm not going to break out into some really weird 80s song right now. You're the meaning in my life.
Hold up a boombox.
I had to throw some humor in there because I'm getting all up in my feels right now. It's guys like you. It's people like Allie, and like I've mentioned, the Lisas and the others that give hope in a really dark time to people like me. And I had, for the longest time, I've been saying this stuff for years. This isn't, the YouTube channel is new. The things I'm saying aren't. I've been saying this stuff for years, and I have not tinfoil hat kind of things, but just people have not known how to respond to me, and I have been alone. I have lost friends. I've had strong Christian brothers. Like, if you listen to me enough, you'll hear it. It comes out most of the times in some way, shape, or form. But I have strong Christian brothers that have walked away from me just this year because they're like, it's too much. It's too much. And others that walked away and come back. And one in particular who has said, I'm sorry it took me so long. Now I understand. And
good feeling though to hear something like that. And somebody turn their back on you.
And so people like you, Chad, and Allie, and all the others that we've mentioned, like, I go to those rallies because they're important, but I go because I'm not alone. And that's the thing. I love the support from people in the sense of, I'm not gloating over it, but when somebody messages me, I love that.
Yeah, it's a good feeling.
But what helps are the conversations, the face-to-face, the in-person, and this is part of that. Mm-hmm. But it's seeing people out there who are willing to stand up and say, you've gone this far, you will go no further. Yeah. Or we're going to go down swinging. That's what, I hate to say it that way, but that's what it is, because you get to feeling alone, and when you feel alone, that's when you feel crazy.
Yeah.
Like, maybe I am nuts. And that's not a good feeling.
Not at all. It's comforting to get around people that are like-minded, and so you do understand that other people really do see what you see. My neighbor, you've met him many times, a guy that runs around with me all the time, Cody, and he
oh, I didn't realize he was your neighbor.
Oh, he's my best friend, man. he
well, now you doxed him, so
and I didn't use his last name. and that was another thing. He was like, I don't care what, they'll never find out who he is. But he for a long time was prepared to up and take his family if anything popped off. But now he's filled with hope, and he's ready to defend his home. Instead, he knows that there's people there around that think like we do and are on the same page, and that's a comforting feeling, man. It's you don't feel so alone, and you do feel more empowered. So we're all out there. It's just a matter of us networking and getting together and
the day I hung my flag upside down on the front of my house. And I have military friends. I'm a vet, so when I talk about that oath, that oath means a lot to me on a lot of different levels. But But I've had veteran friends that have said, I don't agree. And I'm like, you're wrong.
Yep.
You're wrong.
Yep, they are.
Wrong. We are in our country is occupied right now.
Yeah.
And
it's crazy.
And this is our country. This is our state. These are our towns. These are our streets. These are our communities, our neighborhoods. And there may come a time where maybe we do have to pack up and leave, but it'll be as a group.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be as a group.
Yep, you're right.
But they're not, even then, they're not going to let us go.
No.
Everybody talks so much about Lincoln saving this country. And to a degree, I understand what they're talking about, but he was a tyrant too.
Yeah.
Did I agree? Do I agree with all of the philosophy of the Confederate South? Absolutely not. Despise chattel slavery. I hate what slavery was. I hate what it stood for, and I hate the things that followed it, and I hate the injustices that came after it for years and years and years.
Yeah.
But there were certain things that the Confederacy had right, and one of those is state rights.
Yeah.
And the federal government isn't our ally.
Oh.
And I don't care who's sitting in the White House. Whoever's sitting in that White House is going to do the same thing that Lincoln did. He's going to criminalize people who talk about what about our rights. And that was the biggest thing for the South, was that there were a lot of people, they weren't fighting for slavery. They were fighting to say, you don't get to run my life.
Right.
The revolution that launched this country wasn't about oppressing people. It was about building a system to deliver the oppressed from oppression. And that's where we're at now. And so when you have somebody who says, I'm going to stand and fight instead of pack up and leave, that's huge. That's huge.
Yes.
Now, like I said, there may come a time where we do have to pack up and go, but they're not going to let us go without a fight.
It's not going to be easy, man. We're not going to be easily run off. I think wasn't it Thomas Jefferson that said the cost of freedom is eternal vigilance.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the absolute truth. And it's kind of how we got to where we are today as Americans forgot. We need to continue to fight for our freedoms, and they just kept getting taken away from us. And here we are. It's going to be a lot harder to regain any freedoms than it is to maintain freedoms. So we're in for a big fight, but all of us together, and as what you were talking about, the South in Lincoln, that's a great thing about this country is we're not we're not 100% right on this side, and they're not 100% right on that side. There has to be a time eventually where we can come together and let's find the perfect country. Let's take your good ideas and our good ideas and let's make this a beautiful country. Now that is so far off. The left has no interest in speaking with us on anything. It is all what they want and only what they want. And we're conspiracy theorists, ignorant rednecks, white trash, blah, blah, blah. That's not what I think about them. I think they're confused, indoctrinated, poor souls, and hopefully some of them can be saved. But I mean, we're at a point now, man, where it's just getting, that's not feasible right now.
The people that they idolize call them useful idiots.
Yeah, right.
Literally, people are like, no, that's what you call them. I'm like, no. The Marxist movement in the West refers to these people as useful idiots.
Yeah.
Because they're easily indoctrinated and they're easily swayed.
Yeah.
And so they're useful idiots to them. They'll do whatever whatever marching orders are given, they'll take them and do them.
Yeah. Especially these kids on the front lines, they're not the bigwigs. They're not the ones making the decisions. They're young kids. That's all a smokescreen. It's all a show. So they can pull off what they're pulling behind, behind shields, damaging cars. It's doxing patriots. It's just crazy, man.
Yeah. Well, Chad, I really appreciate your time, and I'm imagining that this winter in Minnesota is going to be far more difficult for us patriots.
Right.
I'm,
But we're from Minnesota, man. We can handle this stuff.
except for dining outside. I'm hoping, you know, that the weather is such that we're able to continue to gather. But like you said, at some point, the rallies aren't enough.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not calling for war. There's a certain time where you can rally so much, and it doesn't at some point you even Antifa won't pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
It has to become an active thing, and that's what I really respect about you, and all the others. And so, Chad, I thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your story and for being transparent and sharing the things that you did. And be safe. Reach out. Let me know if there's anything that you need. If we need to get people together if it does get hairy and we need to get people together to come over and provide cover. You let me know. We'll do what we can. I mean, I know you guys got a good, solid law enforcement agency there in town, and but I have your back, and not way back. I actually will have your.
I know you of all people I know. Since we've met, I've really, you get a good vibe about some people, and you can read their sincerity, and I know you got my back, and I got your back, brother. I appreciate everything you do, and thank you so much for having me on and helping spread the word.
Yeah, and we'll get this out, and I'd tell you to share it, but you can't anymore because you're banned again.
Right now, I will see the heck out of it when I get back, though.
Put it my
Minnesotans for Freedom. We'll get it shared.
Minnesota. How am I not in that group too?
I don't know, man. Get on there.
But give my regards to Allie. Let her know that there are people out there praying and prepared to help in whatever way we can. And thank you for being on the front lines, and thanks for taking flack. So
yeah, no problem, man. God bless, man. God bless.
You take care. Merca. We'll see you later, man. Take care.
All right. Thanks, man.
Bye.
Bye.
That is what an American is right there. And so much of what he said, I have been trying to say. This isn't just about backing Trump. This isn't just about right wing. This isn't about just conservatives. This is about classical liberalism, traditional conservatives. That's what this movement is. We're out there for everybody. And guys like Chad and his wife Allie, they're taking heat because other people won't step up. If you've been sitting at home and following this on social media and saying, oh, I can't handle this anymore, I can't do this anymore, this is disgusting what's happening, it's time to stop talking and it's time to start doing. Speak out. Challenge your local elected officials. Thanks for watching. Sic Semper Tyrannis.